So to elaborate on a little bit more on evolution and geographical isolation. First of all, who can remind me what evolution is? Wow.
Okay. Evolution is how species adapt.
Species within a population.
Species within a population adapt to meet their environment.
And what happens for them to adapt? Because that's the part you're missing.
Their physical traits might change.
Their physical traits might change due to what?
Their genetics.
Their genetics. It's a change in genes within a population over time. That's the full description, okay? And reproduction must be involved. Now, you're gonna see species within the population change, right? Like specific organisms begin to change, eventually the whole population changes. So another word that's associated is speciation. And reproductive isolation is also tied into this word. So what happens is, like in this picture, Pangea, anybody know what that is?
The first like mass of land on the earth before continent.
Good. Like the description of how the continents were once placed together, and it was like one big supercontinent. So after plate tectonics shifted or earthquakes occurred, the continents separated, and you're going to see this is what they look like. So some organisms were separated even by water, and over time you saw changes in land, obviously, and you also saw change of the species within the land, and we talked about that. Now, reproductive isolation, if you look at that picture, you see specific organisms somehow were separated, and you see that organism right here is feeding off of a what? Pear, and these are feeding off bananas, and over time they became organisms that specifically feed. This was their only food source. So even though there was a variety of foods in their diet, because they were separated, eventually they became an organism that was, more specific to a specific type of food. And that's kind of called reproductive isolation because those organisms bred, and everybody that followed with that trait within that population. Does that make sense? That's where you try to link all the words. All right, so the last type of evolution.